Welcome back, folks, for another episode of Suiting Up Varsity series, Want to Start a Fight, where we take a look at an individual high school and try to figure out who their best athlete is. Now, today we're going to break the rules a little bit. We got a request for a couple of the short-lived alternative schools in Omaha, and we're going to package them together because their history really fits together. We're going to look at Omaha Dominican High School, the Friars, 1968 to 1983, and we're going to take a look at the Father Flanagan Chargers, who are kind of their descendants, though it's a different building, from 83 to 94, I believe, and 97, excuse me. Okay, and these are both alternative schools in North Omaha. They are the descendants of Omaha Sacred Heart. Okay, they are all wore red. Dominican and Father Flanagan wore a lot of black with it. More as the years went on, as we got to that era when everybody was wearing black. But they come from Sacred Heart, and they come from a time when the diocese is moving west. Sacred Heart is closed down in 1968 when their building has some physical plant problems, and really it's just a case of demographics being destiny. The Omaha Catholics are moving west. Omaha Rummel opened in 64, and we know that 5 years after 68, it will be Omaha Roncalli. Co-ed, North Side Diocese School still going strong. Omaha Gross opened in 68. Bishop Ryan had been open since 58 at this point. Starting to be lots of options. When Dominican opens, it's actually 70% non-Catholic, okay? And the administrators there really recognize that right away, and they start operating it as a de facto alternative school for Omaha Public, okay? And that's the way they're really operating it. And with that, they start to get into business with Boys Town. And that's why in 83, 15 years later, when the Dominican building is being taken out by a highway project, that Boys Town builds Father Flanagan. It's the next school in line there, a little actually farther east, and that campus is still there. And it's Omaha Blackburn, the official OPS alternative school. There was a state law change that ended Flanagan and the Boys Town kind of serving as, and forced districts to do it officially, and I'm not sure about all that. But let's talk about athletes. Okay, Dominican's athletic history, the Friars, is not full of stars. Okay, just to give you some idea, probably their best basketball team was the year they opened in 68. When they had some returning lettermen from Sacred Heart, and they had Dick Osterhaus, who had been a big Sacred Heart star, one of the greatest Sacred Heart athletes ever, and he was coaching them. And they have a pretty good season that falls apart about 2/3 of the way through, and it falls apart because they're forced to forfeit a bunch of games. Coach Osterhaus was playing a kid who it turned out not only was too old to be playing, but was in his 5th or 6th year of high school. And so that whole year just falls apart for Dominican, and they never really mount another great basketball year. When they start girls athletics, again, another example, 1972, they start volleyball just like the rest of the state does. They don't win a game till 1975. So they struggled. They didn't start football right away. They started football in the 70s. And actually, that's where we find, I think, our greatest Dominican athlete. Their only all-state athlete, Darren Cargill, class of 1982. He was a football all-stater in 81. Dominicans playing 8-man football. I think he's their greatest athlete of all time. Of course, that's just a few years before they morph into Omaha Flanagan. Okay, so Boys Town, who'd been unofficially involved in Dominican, I mean, they didn't own Dominican. How about that? They become it's not the diocese anymore. Now it's Boys Town School. Father Flanagan opens a brand new campus. It's still a beautiful campus. In 1983, and they are athletically successful right away in their first year. They have an all-stater on the basketball floor named Nipsey Jones, who leads them to the state tournament. Dominican had never been close. In 1988, they returned to the state tournament behind a guy who will be all-state in 89, James Hatton, who was about a 30-point scorer for him. So right away, you see Flanagan has some great basketball talent. Okay, I'm going to jump in on myself here before I reveal the greatest athlete, which I've already filmed, because I think there's a track athlete from Flanagan who deserves some mention, and that is George Beckwith, class of 1991, a 4-time state track champion in the sprints, actually 3 more times a champion on relay teams. Great track athlete for Flanagan. Actually did a big part in leading them to what looked like a Class C state track championship in 1989. But then it determined another runner on one of those relays, not Beckwith, was ineligible. So they rescored and sent the state championship trophy to Battle Creek. But George Beckwith deserves mention here. Now, back to the greatest athlete. I think our greatest athlete, though, comes from the end of the Flanagan run, and that's 1997. Calvin Strong Sr., leads the school back to state basketball, leads them all the way to the state semifinals. I think Calvin Strong is the greatest Omaha Flanagan Charger in school history. All right, that's it for our latest episode of Want to Start a Fight. Make sure that you follow Suiting Up Varsity on Twitter. You can check out our webpage at suitingupvarsity.org. See lots of great things there. And also we have our Patreon. There are links on both of those places to our Patreon account. If you want to support the history we're doing, we really appreciate it. Okay, next time we've got a school drawn at random, not too far from Omaha. So we'll see you again soon.